Okay.
This is me, Grayson, and I'm gonna get this, cut, and then what's this?
What are you making?
I'm making a pizza. Then put that on, and done.
Yay! Okay, I am starting dinner. I'm making enchilada soup. And because I'm making enchilada soup, I'm also going to make enchiladas to put either in the fridge for later this week or in the freezer to have ready to go. A lot of the stuff is the same, so it makes sense. I have 1 onion and then a half an onion that I used earlier today. I'm going to cut these up, get them in the pan, start sweating them. This recipe I pulled from the internet. I will link it. I do change it a bit, but it's a good recipe. Comes together really quick. You can do the onions as big or small as you like. I make them really small so nobody complains, but I do use more than the recipe calls for because I love onion. Ugh, I already can't see. Okay, a little oil of your choice in the bottom of the pan. I'm using olive oil, probably a tablespoon or 2. Toss your onions in. I'm gonna put this on like medium heat until they get translucent. Start to stink up my house. Okay, I'm gonna get the seasonings going. So I've got everything out, I believe. The chicken I'm using is already cooked. It's cooked and frozen, and it has like light seasonings on it. So I don't have to cook my chicken, which I think makes this recipe go a little faster, but otherwise you'd be cooking the chicken and that's fine too. It does call for salt, but so I canned up these black beans in August and I oversalted them a lot. They were very salty. So I marked them for soup, and I'm not adding in the salt to this soup because these beans should more than make up for it, I hope. Unless it just tastes awful and I screw it all up. But I think it should be fine. And what do I need here? Teaspoons. Here's my spoon. Okay. And I think, if I'm remembering right, I doubled all the seasonings. Teaspoon of chili powder, half a teaspoon smoked paprika, a half a teaspoon ground cumin, half a teaspoon of onion powder. This is my stuff that I made. I say that every time, but I'm so proud of it. 1/4 teaspoon of dry oregano, half a teaspoon of pepper. That's done. This is already going swimmingly. It says 3 to 4 cups cooked shredded chicken. I wonder, this is probably not 3 to 4 cups. Which is fine. I don't like it so heavy on the chicken. 3 cloves of garlic. What I'm gonna do, because I'll have the garlic out, is take my little chopper and chop up all my garlic. This stuff's starting to get kind of yucky. I wanna chop it all up, throw it in the freezer, and then that'll be ready for me. This stuff I like to buy because it's already peeled and I'm lazy, but I don't like to buy because it goes bad so quick. And for a while I was getting kind of good at chopping it up right away and putting it away, but I'm not this time. So I'll do that while I have it out. Yeah.
I guess that.
All right, I'm gonna put in a crap ton of garlic. I'm throwing the chicken in with this so it can start to thaw. All right, here's the seasonings that we just did a moment ago. Going in. The recipe says a can of tomatoes and green chilies rotel. I am going to use 2. It also calls for a small can of enchilada sauce, but I'm using a big can. I'm using 2 cans of black beans. I've got 4 cups of chicken broth. This was just made with dry bouillon because I am out of my homemade stuff. Feel free to use whatever you want. I'm gonna let this boil for a little bit and let all the flavors come together, and then we will put some cheese in here. I'm gonna get the cornbread going. Pretty sure this is the same recipe that I use all the time, but I couldn't find my printed recipe, so I hope it's the same. Preheat the oven to 400. We're doing all the dry ingredients in a bowl and then throwing in the wet ingredients. This is cornmeal that I made. I dried some corn and then just ground it up. There's nothing in it besides corn. So we need 3/4 of a cup, 1 cup of flour. This is all-purpose flour. I buy the unbleached. You can buy whichever one you want. I just like the unbleached better. 1/2 cup of sugar, 1 teaspoon of salt, 3.5 teaspoons of baking powder, or is it 3/2 teaspoons? I think it's 3.5. It's kind of written funny. Get that. Looks pretty yummy. Okay, and then it's 3 tablespoons of melted butter, 2 large eggs, and 1 cup of milk. I'm gonna use my big muffin tins. I may need another batch just to fill one of these, but we'll see. One batch does 1 pan. This would be equivalent to like 12 of the regular size cupcake pans. So that was 1 batch. These need to cook for 20 to 25 minutes, which means I should have started them way sooner. I'm gonna make another batch. Either we'll eat them tonight or I will put them in the fridge or freezer to go with the enchiladas. This has been boiling for a little while. I tasted it for seasonings. I think it tastes really good. I'm quite happy with it. Always check for seasonings. Sometimes I forget and then it makes things difficult. I'm putting in a block of softened cream cheese. I'll start with a 1/2 block because the recipe calls for a 1/2 block, but I'm fairly certain that we decided that we liked the whole block because I increased the amounts of some of these things. So I'll start with a 1/2, that's fine. And then I've got 2 cups, about 1.5 cups of shredded cheddar. And then it says if you want to thicken this with cornstarch, that's optional. I do not do that. I like the consistency of it. Just let that all melt. The cornbread is close to being done here. It should all crash together real fast. I almost think that I could have put more beans in, maybe another can of beans. I really like the black beans. Here it is done. Oh, I gotta get a spoon. All right, there it is done. I did just use the 1/2 of cream cheese, 1/2 the block of cream cheese, and it tastes really good. We like to top ours with some chips. And then I've got the muffin, which turned out fabulous. I didn't try it yet, but it looks really good. And there will almost be no leftovers. This pot's almost gone already. So by tomorrow, it'll be completely gone and everybody will be wishing I made more. Okay, dokie. So dinner's done. Everybody ate. I threw in 2 more batches of cornbread to go with the enchiladas that I'm gonna make in the next week or 2. I'm planning on freezing those. So what I did was add an extra tablespoon of butter. The last time we froze this recipe, they got a little dry. So I'm trying it with a little extra butter and I wanna see how they turn out. The other thing I wanna do is make up some dry mixes with this recipe because I really like this recipe. This is all of the corn that I have left and I gotta make some more. So I'm just gonna use this up and then see how far we get. And if I have 4 of them on the shelf, that's gonna be plenty. So we'll just see how far this corn gets. This stuff is a little darker. I don't know why. It smells the same though, so that's fine. Oh, look at that. Okay, I am out of cornmeal. All right, 1 cup of flour. Uh-oh. Okay, these can go down in the pantry. I'll get them marked. So you could shake these up if you wanted to. I think this looks kind of cool. Got my instructions on there. Otherwise, I'll keep the recipe close. This one I could probably shake up, but I'm not going to. So I'll just put these down on the shelf they're ready to go. We would probably use 2 at a crack, so I don't know if I'd be able to fit 2 batches in there. I don't think I could, but that's fine. I don't mind. So I'll just have to make sure I keep them in pairs, and I gotta get more corn dehydrated. Why?
It just does.
You have to do one of those annoying thumbnails, like, watch me open the world's strangest banana.
Whoa!
Whoa! It gets close and far from the camera.
Whoa!
What's gonna be inside? Whoa!
2 bananas!
I can't believe it!
Oh, they are like oh, fuck.
They aren't.
They are in the center of the tube.
But easy to split, right?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, there's like a string in the middle of them.
Brothers.
Banana?
Ew, the devil's in